The dream is always to just quit the 9 to 5, right? Like to finally own a business.
Oh, absolutely.
You're sitting there in probably your third virtual meeting of the morning. You're staring at a spreadsheet someone else built, and you're just thinking about taking control of your own destiny.
Yeah, building equity for yourself instead of some faceless board of directors.
Exactly. But the reality, and we see this all the time, is that most people who make that leap from the corporate world into entrepreneurship, they accidentally buy themselves a 24/7 job.
Right. They just trade a demanding boss for, well, a situation where they are the ones fixing the proverbial plumbing at midnight.
Yeah, completely trapped in the daily operations.
And that is the operational trap that catches so many aspiring business owners. I mean, the transition from corporate professional to entrepreneur is really fraught with that tension.
It's scary.
It is. You leave a structured environment seeking freedom, lifestyle, flexibility, wealth generation, but without the right vehicle, you quickly become your own most overworked employee.
Which makes today's deep dive particularly relevant for you listening right now. We are looking at the home services industry, and specifically, we're unpacking the Wallaby Windows franchise opportunity.
It's a really interesting model.
It is. The mission of this deep dive is to look past the surface level, past just installing glass, and truly decode the business mechanics here.
Right, the underlying machinery of it.
Exactly. We're going to explore why this specific brand is capturing consumer trust and, crucially, how its business model is engineered for the executive franchise owner.
The investor who wants to scale a massive operation without ever actually swinging a hammer.
Right. Okay, let's unpack this, because before we evaluate any investment requirements or operational systems, we really have to understand the end consumer.
Oh, 100%.
Because if the product doesn't move in the local market, the underlying math simply does not matter.
No, it doesn't. That is the fundamental litmus test for literally any business evaluation.
Yeah.
I mean, you can design the most elegant, lean operational model in the world, but if the homeowner does not want to buy what you're selling, the business fails.
Simple as that.
Right. And we have to acknowledge that the home improvement space is, it's a highly competitive arena.
Oh, consumers are just flooded with options. I mean, if I need new windows, my mailbox is already stuffed with direct mailers and flyers.
Exactly. Everybody's shouting for attention.
So what is the mechanism that makes a homeowner actually choose Wallaby over the dozen other options?
What's fascinating here is that it comes down to a deliberate disruption of standard buyer psychology.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Well, Wallaby utilizes what they call a white glove and pane-free. That's PANE service approach. And to understand why this works, we really should look at how a homeowner typically experiences this industry.
Which is usually terrible, right?
It's awful. Often, it involves really high-pressure tactics. The industry standard is literally to sit at the customer's kitchen table for 3 hours, quote, an artificially inflated number, and then
Offer a today-only discount.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To force an immediate signature. It puts the consumer in a defensive, highly skeptical posture right from the jump.
It feels like buying a used car in your own living room. You are just waiting for them to call their manager to magically drop the price. It's incredibly uncomfortable.
Right. So the contrast here is a consultative, zero-pressure process. Consider a homeowner named Zach. His case study is, it's a perfect illustration of this.
Okay.
Zach was looking to replace his windows and had received a quote from a major premium competitor. And that quote was for over $100,000.
Wait, $100,000 just for windows?
Over $100,000. It's a staggering number that just immediately creates distrust, right? He was prepared to just go to a big box hardware store and find a local handyman to handle it piecemeal, just to avoid the stress.
Which is a complete logistical nightmare for the homeowner. I mean, trying to coordinate the materials and the labor separately.
It is. It's a huge headache.
Yeah.
But Zach happened to see a Wallaby Windows crew doing an installation in his neighborhood and just walked over.
Okay.
The local representative actually spent an hour visiting Zach's home while the crew was on their lunch break. There were no high-pressure closing tactics, just a really helpful, transparent consultation.
Yeah.
Zach signed on the spot.
Wow. Just from walking over to a job site?
Yeah. And another homeowner, Troy, had a similarly disruptive experience. The project lead from Wallaby didn't just provide an estimate. She proactively brought up a local savings initiative called the My Safe Florida Home Program.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, she educated Troy on how to save money through this program without him even asking. and she followed up with extra information multiple times.
That fundamentally shifts the dynamic.
Goes,
Well, when a sales rep proactively offers ways for the customer to utilize local grants or savings programs, they're essentially saying, hey, I am sitting on the same side of the table as you.
right, right.
They act as an advisor to the homeowner rather than, an adversary trying to extract maximum margin.
Exactly. And that advisory role establishes a deep level of trust that extends far past the initial sale, which actually brings us to one of the most mechanically brilliant retention and referral systems I've seen in this space.
Okay, what is it?
The 23-month post-installation inspection.
Wait, 23 months?
Yes. So Wallaby offers a 2-year warranty, right? Now, the industry standard is to basically hope the customer never calls you, because a phone call means something broke and it's going to cost you money.
Right, you want them to forget your number.
Exactly. But Wallaby flips that entirely. At month 23, literally 1 month before the warranty expires, they proactively contact the customer and send a technician back out to inspect the windows and doors.
And they fix any issues?
Completely free of charge.
Wait. If they're paying reps to act as thorough consultants and then sending crews back at month 23 for free inspections, how does this business maintain its profit margins?
It seems counterintuitive, right?
Yeah. Isn't sending a technician out to a house for a free inspection just an unnecessary expense? Let's break down the logic there.
Okay, let's look at the math behind customer acquisition cost, or ACOSHUCA. In the home services sector, acquiring a brand new, qualified lead through marketing and advertising can easily cost hundreds, sometimes over $1,000.
Oh, sure. Google ads for home services are incredibly expensive.
Right. So sending a technician to a previous customer's home for an hour at month 23 might cost the business, say, $50 to $100 in labor.
Okay, I'm following.
The return on that tiny investment is astronomical. First, they're generating an immense amount of goodwill right when the customer has likely forgotten about the transaction.
Yeah.
And second, they're getting back inside the home.
Which is the hardest part of the business. So if I only replaced my front windows 2 years ago, now the technician is standing in my living room checking those front windows.
Yes.
I am thrilled with the proactive service, and I might naturally say, hey, while you're here, can we measure the sliding glass door in the back?
You've hit on the exact central mechanism. It is a built-in engine for generating secondary sales at a fraction of the traditional customer acquisition cost.
That is so smart.
It really is.
Yeah.
And even if they don't buy anything else, the homeowner is practically guaranteed to become a highly enthusiastic referral source for their entire neighborhood.
No, yeah, who wouldn't tell their neighbors about that?
Exactly. And the tangible product results reinforce this. Like, a customer named Julia had windows installed because her home was next to a really busy highway.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, and she actually noted her traffic noise dropped by 95% after the installation.
Wow.
Right. When you combine massive quality of life improvements with proactive white glove service, you just build an impenetrable local reputation.
I mean, a 95% reduction in traffic noise is literally life-changing.
It is.
But all of this high-touch, meticulous service brings up a massive structural question for me.
Okay, sure.
If the brand is delivering this level of customized consultation, right, and they're managing multi-stage warranty follow-ups and dealing with significant installations, the natural assumption is that the franchise owner is working 80-hour weeks to hold it all together.
Yeah, that's the fear.
Right. The listener right now might be picturing themselves driving a branded truck at dawn, managing a massive warehouse of fragile glass, and dealing with employee headaches every time a carpenter calls in sick.
And that is exactly the assumption that keeps so many corporate professionals from entering the service sector.
Yeah.
But that paints a picture of an owner-operator model,
Right.
which is fundamentally different from the executive ownership model Wallaby Windows has engineered.
Okay, break that down for me.
So, the franchisee in this system is brought in to be a specialist in business development, sales management, and high-level strategy. They're entirely removed from the physical installation process.
Entirely.
Entirely. The heavy lifting, literally and figuratively, is handled by a network of outsourced, certified subcontractors.
Okay, I need to push back on that a bit, because utilizing subcontractors sounds like a massive risk to the brand's reputation.
It's a common concern, yeah.
Right. If these installers are not your W-2 employees, meaning they don't work exclusively for you on your payroll, how do you guarantee this white glove service we just talked about? Doesn't relying on 1099 independent contractors mean you basically lose quality control?
That is a completely valid fear for anyone evaluating a service business.
Uh,
But the distinction here is the certification and vetting process.
okay.
These aren't just random handymen pulled off an internet message board.
Mhm.
Wallaby utilizes a specialized network of subcontractors who must adhere to stringent brand standards and installation protocols
But how do you enforce that?
through economic alignment. It's actually brilliant. Subcontractors excel at their craft, right? But they generally despise marketing, sales, and customer acquisition.
Oh, for sure. They just want to do the work.
Exactly. So by partnering with Wallaby, the subcontractor gets a steady, predictable pipeline of high-ticket work without having to spend a single dime on advertising.
Ah.
Wallaby holds the leverage because they control the deal flow. If a subcontractor fails to meet the white glove standard, they simply do not get the next highly lucrative project.
Okay, that makes total sense. You are solving the subcontractor's biggest problem finding steady work, so they are highly motivated to maintain your brand standards.
Precisely.
But let's clarify the terminology for a moment, just for the listener. Avoiding W-2 labor is a massive operational lever.
Huge.
When you have W-2 employees, you are responsible for payroll taxes, workers' comp insurance, HR compliance, and worst of all, paying them even when there are gaps in the schedule.
Right.
By utilizing 1099 subcontractors, you shift from fixed labor costs to variable labor costs. You only pay for labor when a revenue-generating job is actually completed.
Yes, and that is the core distinction that allows for the executive lifestyle. By stripping away the burden of managing a massive W-2 labor force, the owner is freed up to focus entirely on growth.
So if the corporate support system is generating leads and the subcontractors are doing the physical installations, what is the actual day-to-day role of the franchise owner?
Think of the franchise owner as the air traffic controller while the subcontractors are the pilots.
Okay, I like that.
The owner's job is not to fly the plane. On a Tuesday morning, the executive owner is analyzing local digital marketing metrics. They are out in the community building strategic referral relationships with local real estate agencies, property management firms, HOAs, things like that. They're coaching their internal team, which, by the way, is incredibly lean. You typically only need a general manager and a sales representative to launch the business.
Just two people.
Just 1 to 2 employees to start. The owner manages the managers and ensures the local market airspace is full of high-quality leads.
You are building the machine, not turning the gears yourself.
Exactly.
And speaking of lean operations, the physical real estate footprint, or rather the lack of one, is another major structural advantage here. There is no requirement to lease a brick-and-mortar storefront.
Right. And if we compare this to traditional retail franchising, the advantages become really stark.
Oh, night and day.
In traditional models, you're burdened by commercial real estate. You spend months finding a location, you sign a decade-long commercial lease, you navigate complex local zoning laws.
Not to mention funding a massive physical build-out.
Exactly. And then you are locked into massive fixed monthly overhead just to keep the lights on and the doors open, regardless of your daily sales volume. Wallaby systematically removes that real estate burden.
Which is completely logical. Your customers aren't coming to a showroom to buy customized windows for their specific house. You have to go to their house to measure the frames anyway.
Right, a retail storefront would just be an expensive vanity project.
So you operate from home.
You operate a home-based or highly lean office setup. When you combine the lack of commercial real estate overhead with the avoidance of a massive W-2 payroll, you have effectively eliminated the two largest financial anchors of small business ownership.
Wow.
Yeah. This lean design is what protects the owner's lifestyle, allowing the business to operate during normal daytime hours without the emergency midnight repairs or those grueling retail weekend shifts.
Okay, let's transition from the operational design to the actual ledger.
Sure.
If the fixed costs are incredibly low and the lifestyle is protected, how do the unit economics actually stack up for an investor? So what does this all mean when we look at the financial requirements?
Well, the barrier to entry is highly efficient. The total initial investment to launch a Wallaby Windows franchise ranges from $158,606 to $241,690.
Oh.
And to qualify for ownership, the franchisor requires a net worth of at least $250,000, with $100,000 in liquid capital available.
To put that in perspective for you listening, Launching a national brand franchise with an all-in investment under $250,000 is exceptionally rare.
It really is.
And you are seeing that low number specifically because you are avoiding those $500,000 retail build-outs we just discussed. You aren't buying commercial ovens or outfitting a massive gym.
Exactly. And the ongoing financial structure aligns with industry norms. There's a 5% royalty fee on gross sales and a 1% advertising royalty fee.
Okay, pretty standard.
Very standard. The initial franchise agreement gives you a 10-year term, with the option for 2 additional 5-year renewals. But to truly understand the wealth generation potential here, we have to look at the revenue side of the equation.
Let's do it.
This business model is built entirely on a high average ticket price.
Let's break down the math on that. The core services are window, door, and siding replacement. If an investor owns, say, a high-volume, low-ticket franchise like a quick-service restaurant, they might need to process 2,000 individual transactions a week just to cover their rent and labor.
Right, spinning your wheels just to break even.
The operational drag of managing thousands of tiny transactions is enormous, but if you are replacing all the windows and doors in a large suburban home, that single invoice is substantial.
The math completely changes in a high-ticket environment. If your average transaction is $10,000, $15,000, or $20,000, you need a remarkably small number of closed sales per month to hit aggressive revenue targets.
You don't need a line wrapped around the block.
No, you do not need a line of customers. You need a highly predictable, steady flow of qualified leads. And this is where Wallaby provides massive leverage through their national call center and aggressive digital lead generation strategies.
Wait, how does the national call center function? Is it like an extension of the local owners team?
Yes. It acts as both an operational safety net and a conversion engine.
Give me an example.
Okay, so when a homeowner fills out a form online at, say, 9 p.m. on a Sunday, after realizing their windows are drafty.
Because that's when people actually think about this stuff.
Exactly. The National Call Center captures and fields that inquiry. They qualify the lead and schedule the appointment directly onto the local owner's calendar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the executive owner and their small sales team, they just wake up to a populated schedule. They don't have to hire a local receptionist or worry about missing a lucrative phone call while they're in a meeting.
That is massive leverage. And you actually have the runway to capitalize on those leads because the market size they provide is enormous, right?
It is. Wallaby awards protected territories of 200,000 or more people.
That is a vast addressable market, especially when you only need a handful of high-ticket sales a week to build a highly profitable enterprise.
It's an architecture designed for aggressive scalability. When an investor combines a protected territory of that size with an initial investment under $250,000, it creates a highly efficient pathway for multi-unit expansion.
All right.
Semi-absentee investors can effectively lock down large geographic regions, leveraging the purchasing power and top-tier vendor partnerships provided by the Empower Brands Network, which is Wallaby's parent company.
And the growth statistics really highlight that multi-unit appeal. Wallaby launched its franchise model in 2022, and it already has 88 units.
Yeah, that's incredibly fast.
Growing to 88 units in just a couple of years is an incredible trajectory. So what does this all mean for someone timing their entry into the market?
It points to the absolute sweet spot of the franchise growth curve.
It's the difference between being a pioneer and being a latecomer.
Exactly.
Because if you invest in a franchise on day one, you are taking on massive risk. The systems aren't fully documented, the brand recognition is zero, and the supply chain might be fragile.
Right, you're the guinea pig.
But conversely, if you look at a legacy brand that has been expanding for 40 years, all the prime, high-wealth, high-population territories are already locked down by existing owners. You're left evaluating secondary or tertiary markets.
And the data backs that up entirely. Sitting at 88 units, Wallaby has heavy momentum, but still offers massive open white space.
The best of both worlds.
Exactly. It's established enough that the National Call Center, the digital marketing playbooks, and the vendor supply chains are fully proven and operational across diverse geographic markets.
Right.
The parent company's experience heavily mitigates the operational risk for an incoming owner. Yet it is early enough in the brand's life cycle that an investor can still secure prime Tier 1 territories.
Okay, let's synthesize all of these mechanisms for the listener. We are looking at a business model where the consumer actually values the interaction, driven by consultative sales, proactive local advising, and guarantees like that 23-month inspection.
Which, as we know now, is actually a brilliant low-cost customer acquisition tool.
Absolutely brilliant. We also have an executive operational model that utilizes certified subcontractors and avoids commercial real estate, completely freeing the owner from the physical labor and massive fixed overhead.
Right.
And we have unit economics characterized by a sub $250,000 initial investment, high ticket transaction math, and the backing of a powerful national network.
When you lay out the mechanics like that, the appeal to the corporate professional becomes undeniable.
It really does.
I mean, it is a system engineered to replace and exceed an executive income without demanding an operator's physical labor or trapping them in a 24/7 cycle of putting out fires.
But, navigating the leap from employee to executive owner requires careful strategy. And you don't want to evaluate these systems alone.
Definitely not.